Well, I bought a laptop. So this is the Lenovo ThinkPad P14 mobile workstation. And this is the second gen one. So this one is the previous generation, but it was deeply discounted. Originally, this was a $3,200 laptop, and I bought it directly from the Lenovo website for $800. So I believe I got a extremely good deal on this. So without any further ado, let's just unbox this. So first things first, we have the Lenovo sticker. Now obviously this won't come in any sort of fancy box because this is an enterprise laptop, so let's just manage our expectations presentation wise. And as expected, this is the box. And it is in a kind of foam kind of padding. And then looks like only other thing in the box is the charger. So let's set the laptop aside and let's see what we get in the box first. Alright, so this should be just warranty information and like first power on kind of stuff. Maybe not even, because this is just a enterprise laptop. Oh, it is yeah, so just some kind of instructions for the T14 Gen 2, T15 Gen 2, P14s, and the P15s. The P is the consumer model of this laptop. So yeah, that's that. Looks like this is some warranty information, and this is Lenovo Smart Features, whatever that means. Okay. Opening the box seems pretty light, and that is because it is just a 65-watt USB-C charging brick. Quite a small one, I might add, but a pretty decent looking cable. All right, let's look at the laptop. I'll unsheath it from its foam purgatory. It's quite a dense laptop. It's pretty heavy. All right, broke the security seal, and there it is. This is it's a ThinkPad at its finest. This does come with Windows 11. We'll see if it keeps the Windows 11 install or if it is getting Linux. If Windows decides to behave and cooperate, it will be keeping Windows. Unfortunately, the only feature that I was not able to option this laptop with was Ethernet, but it is not a end of the world situation. It does have Wi-Fi 6E compatibility, which is very, very sweet. And if I wanted to, this does have a Thunderbolt 4 port, so I could always add a Thunderbolt dock to this, which would add Ethernet. So opening it up, and there it is. It is a Lenovo P14s, matte touchscreen, privacy shutter for the camera. Nothing too crazy. You got your trackpad and track nipple. It doesn't appear to have come with any extra nipples, but that is something that I can easily order online. Fingerprint sensor. This does have a Core i7 with V Pro, so it is a enterprise focused laptop. So let's turn this on and see what we get. So it appears to be dead out of the box, actually. So let's plug it in. Get this cable tie undone. Unfortunately, this only has the charging on one side, but that isn't too much of a problem because it is quite a long cable. Let's turn this on and see what we've got. So I did option this with the NVIDIA Quadro T500 GPU. It doesn't have an NVIDIA logo, but I wouldn't imagine that it does because they don't have stickers for their Quadro Enterprise chips. So yeah, this would be something that you would probably find in an office situation, something you joined a company and they, oh, because I missed the BIOS. They would give you a work laptop, and this would be kind of something that you would receive. I only bought this because I wanted a enterprise device just because of build quality and repairability and stuff like that I didn't want to shell out for a framework, so I thought that the next best thing would be a ThinkPad. So as you can see, it is booting into Windows 11. Which version of Windows 11 I am not sure, because this is the older model, so this might have a lot of updating to do, but it does have a 512 gig NVMe SSD, 16 gigabytes of RAM soldered to the board, but it does have a SODIMM expansion slot. Like I said, Core i7. It's 11th gen, so a little older, but still very modern. It also has a NVIDIA Quadro T500 with 4 gigabytes of VRAM. Port selection wise, we have just on this side your fan exhaust, and then USB 3.2, and then also I believe this is where the smart card reader should be. If I don't have it, I don't believe I optioned it with it. And then micro SD card, HDMI, another USB 3, and then Thunderbolt, which that's a Thunderbolt 4 port, and then headphone combo jack. So not the most port-rich laptop ever, but for some of the more consumer-focused devices, this is a pretty rich laptop compared to just USB-C. And the touchscreen does indeed work. This is not a 2 or 3-in-1. This is just a notebook, but the touchscreen is a welcome addition, considering it didn't cost any extra to option. I said I didn't want one. Oh, press the wrong button. I will just connect to my Wi-Fi. Once again, the amazing Lenovo ThinkPad keyboard. Track nipple does work, which is nice. Trackpad feels amazing. I do have my left and right and center for my track nipple. Fingerprint reader is also here. All right, looks like we are finishing the setup process. A little more streamlined than Windows 10 for sure. As you can see here, it does have a backlit keyboard, which is awesome. It appears to have 2 brightness modes, a low and a high, and then obviously off. Super cool. It has Dolby Audio, whatever that means. Speakers seem to be up here, and they're quite small, so I doubt it's anything of the Dell XPS line or MacBook quality, but anything is better than nothing, so I can't complain too much. So it looks like we're rebooting back into the setup. I'll set this up for personal use. Sign into my Microsoft account because I have to. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to go get a different laptop. I will be right back. So I actually have the laptop that this is replacing. This is a 14-inch HP thing with a Celeron. It has like no battery left, and it's running Linux Mint, but I will be able to access my email. So this is my actual, this was my school computer. For a second, actually for most of high school, actually, this was my school computer. And as the years get on, the Celeron N4020, which it wasn't, already a screaming powerhouse, but it just isn't up to snuff for most non-web-based things today in the modern world. and I'm going into a profession, well, I guess I don't want to say profession, but a field where I will need to be using some video editing and some light stuff for music. So I want to have a machine that is capable for those purposes. And unfortunately, this old guy is not up to that. So, yes, let's not do that. Let's not restore. Just set this up as a new device because I don't need to have parity with my desktop, which is also surprisingly another enterprise enterprise device. It's a Optiplex, so kind of sticking with the enterprise theme. And my monitor is also a Dell Professional monitor. Yeah, you can steal my pin. It will be changing. So if you ever get my laptop, you can have all my goodies. So just use a simple pin just so I can set this up and get it to the desktop. So far, like I said, the keyboard is amazing. It's a pretty well laid out keyboard. I'm very familiar with the ThinkPad layout. I have a couple ThinkPads that are Chromebooks. I've used Windows ThinkPads, and I have a IdeaPad, a very early IdeaPad that had a similar layout. The keyboard was kind of trash, but it had a very similar layout. So I am very used to this layout, and I think it's one of the better ones for sure. Little does Windows 11 know I will be going in and disabling all the telemetry later. So yeah, they can have all of the data that I won't get them. This device, no. I do like the Windows the Windows 11 setup experience more than the Windows 10 one. But I feel like the Windows 11 one takes a little longer just because it asks for so many things. But at least it's nice to look at and doesn't, lie to you. We're almost there, getting things ready for you, which I absolutely hate. I believe I only have one Windows 10 computer still kicking around, and that is my original IdeaPad. Everything else is either running legacy versions of Windows, Windows 11, or Linux. So yeah, getting things ready for you. Here it is. Absolutely hate this screen. There's actually a story why I hate this. So back in middle school, we had Windows 10 computers in the computer lab, but they were all older AMD FX computers from like earlier on in the decade, and they all had mechanical hard drives, and we were a Title I school district. So obviously we were on a network, so you could log into any computer in the school with your account or whatever. And these things took 10 minutes to get through this screen to log you in and to get you ready to use your account. And the only thing that benefited you was you were logged into your personal school OneDrive, and you had your licenses and stuff available to you on like Microsoft Office. It didn't do anything else. It did not transfer any files or anything. It literally just set up your licenses and logged you into your OneDrive. And it would take decades for that to happen. And I mean, it was awful. It was terrible. It was a garbage experience. But now that the story's over, here we are, desktop. So Lenovo is actually pretty light on their bloatware. Now, obviously, this is an enterprise laptop, so it's not going to be awful. But I remember when we got the IdeaPad, it's a Lenovo Z50, and it came with only a couple pieces of bloatware. Really, it came with Lenovo Vantage. It came with the old AMD Catalyst Control Center. Some of you might remember that. And it also had some of the Power DVD stuff, which was actually not a terrible software suite. I obviously put VLC on it, but it wasn't actually terrible, and actually was a useful thing instead of it coming like preloaded with Norton antivirus. And okay, it backs stuff up from my OneDrive, which is great. But let's take a look at the actual specs of this thing. I know I've been just kind of listing them off, but here we have the 11th gen Core i7 1185 G7 at 3 gigahertz. It is just a quad core with hyper-threading. Nothing crazy. And then we have 16 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz per second. RAM, DDR4, nothing crazy. It is SODIMM, but the one DIMM is just soldered to the board. And then hard drive, we have a Samsung Enterprise 512 gig drive, whatever, SSD, super quick. Then we have the Intel Wi-Fi 6 AX201, blah, 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 nothing crazy. Then we obviously have from the CPU, the Intel Iris Xe graphics, which is what this will be using when it's not plugged in. And then if I ever need to do anything actually, heavy, I guess, we would switch to the NVIDIA T500, which has 4 gigabytes of dedicated GPU memory. Yeah, it's just a all-round, really well-rounded laptop. So yeah, this is the unboxing and first impressions. I mean, if we want to run a quick benchmark, shut up, Microsoft. Confirm and continue, I guess. Continue without this data. Confirm and start browsing. Okay. We'll go to the Silver Bench, which is all written in JavaScript, but it only uses your CPU and it runs in a browser, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, it's it's not the fastest thing in the world, but as you can tell, it's got some decent horsepower to it. It's an 11th Gen i7, so it's fairly modern, and quite power efficient too, which is really, really nice. And so this will give me the flexibility to not only have a all-day battery life, but to also have some horsepower when I plug it in and need to sit down and do something a little more intensive. I guess while that's finishing up, let's test these speakers real quick with the obligatory crab rave. Obviously, you're going to be hearing it through my phone, through this microphone, through the phone, through YouTube, so it's not obviously going to be the greatest thing, audio file wise, but if we just not the Monster Cat edit. Did they remove the original upload? Oh, must have. Okay. And of course, I'm not signed into my YouTube, so I don't have premium, which is sweet.
Amanda? Oh, hi, Amanda. Come on in.
But here we go. It's a pretty nice looking screen. Alright. Oops. You know what? For the size of the speakers and the size of this laptop, those are not bad. Those are plenty adequate for a laptop of this size and price. Now, if I paid $3,200 for this laptop, I don't know if I'd be as happy, but for $800 for this build quality, pedigree, and support, I don't think I could have done much better. Now, after the fact, I did find an Acer Aspire X that had an RTX 3050 in it, in a Ryzen Pro. I think it was a 7000 or 5000 series. Super cool laptop, but I wasn't as mad because that was a $700 laptop, so $100 less than this and a little bit more performance. But I'm not mad because I got a ThinkPad, and that's what's important. Is I got a ThinkPad. I got something that's gonna last me for possibly decades at this point. There's people still going out and buying the T480, which is a Windows 7 era ThinkPad, and they're spoofing Windows 11 onto it and just using it day to day. And I think that's really, really amazing. And that's what I really like about this ThinkPad, is that it's also it's upgradable and it's serviceable. You just pop the back off. You can replace the battery. You can replace the RAM. You can replace the SSD. You can replace the Wi-Fi module. It's all upgradable. So if I ever have any problems with this or need to upgrade down the road, I just popped the back off and put in some new components, and it should just continue to work. I mean, the keyboard, this keyboard just lifts out. You know, the screen is replaceable, and it's just something I was really looking for in a laptop, was the repairability of this. And this is about as close as you can get without getting a modular laptop like the framework or that 1 HP thing that HP is doing. So yeah, those have been my unboxing and first thoughts of the Lenovo P14s ThinkPad. Yeah, so this has been RNC Tech, and that's all I've got. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.